Hello, sports fans. Had a pretty good day today. Eventually, we got out on the road. Um, Worked on my mother's timer for TV, which gives her an hour to watch the TV before it goes off and allows her to get some little better sleep. We had her outside today doing some planting. I found some great hollyhock plants down on Route 22 near PC Warehouse down there in Greenbrook. I got 8 nice plants. We had planted some seeds last year and the year before, and only a few of the plants actually survived and came up. But now we have these 8 really hardy looking plants, so she's really excited about that. And in that excitement, she decided we should drive down to the Great Swamp Greenhouses in Myersville, actually. They give a Gillette address, but that's kind of confusing. They're in Myersville. You go to the Myersville Circle and head into the swamps. And after the first intersection, they're a little further on down the right. It's a massive array of plants, both perennials, shrubs, and then on the inside, they have the mostly the annuals and some perennials, but the flowers are just absolutely gorgeous at this particular point in time. You can look them up on the internet under Great Swamp Greenhouses, and you can use Myersville. They show a Gillette address, I think. I think that's what I saw. It doesn't matter. You'll find them in New Jersey. There's only one Great Swamp in New Jersey, which could have been a jet port, supposedly. Who knows? But we've got we had previously gotten in some basil, so we separated little basil plants. And that's at the VA greenhouses near the Veterans Administration greenhouses in Lyons, New Jersey, towards Basking Ridge. That's another great opportunity to help support our vets. And we'll see what tomorrow unfolds. Didn't get a chance to cover too much in the news, except that the enemies of Israel are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. The Brotherhood of Muslims, or the Muslim Brotherhood, has restated they are in control of Egypt now, and they have restated their desire to kill all the Jews. And this seems to fit very well into Obama's plan. It's just amazing to me how the Jewish people in the United States, anybody in the United States, can see what Obama is doing as something that's positive. Well, you can look at it this way. If we could throw out Mubarak after he was a loyal ally of the United States, throw him to out with the dishwater. Why wouldn't we do it with Israel? I mean, the same type of logic. We know, and no one's asking Miss Prissy Hillary Clinton about the makeup of the people who were supporting to take out Gaddafi. That they're related to at least 40% are Al Qaeda linked. That doesn't seem to bother anybody. I seem to remember everybody talking about Al Qaeda as our enemy. But apparently, according to many sources, that Al Qaeda basically is very closely allied to the CIA to do their work. Don't ask me exactly what that means. I don't know. It's pretty scary sounding. Basically, the Libyan oil was going not to the United States, to the rest of Europe, so we're fighting the Europeans' war. So who knows how we're being used. I guess we're going to be getting out of Iraq very shortly, and then they can possibly turn on Israel. We are being bled dry, folks. We are being so bled dry with no end in sight. I've said this before, that government is a cancer. It's a basic cancer. that kills the healthy cells. It demoralizes the healthy cells, and it just sucks and sucks and sucks and has no real product. It should have some sort of vision, in a sense, to look for issues and problems. But it's gotten to the point where it's self-fulfilling. Um, at this point, it doesn't follow the U.S. Constitution. It's a renegade government on both sides. We don't even know if the president is born in the United States. We don't even know why he apparently used various social security numbers. And the knee-jerk reaction on protecting this guy is unbelievable. Now, I have to say that ultimately we didn't get to the mess we're in because one party was much different than the other. Apparently they work as good cop, bad cop. I've said this many times before. And so that's where we're at. The Tea Party, in a sense, holds some promise. And representatives like Michelle Bachmann, Sarah Palin, they kind of say some very interesting things, and they're not in zoom land relative to what the real goals and motives of the government is. The government right now is set on a mission to disarm everybody and turn everybody into medicated drones. And we're pretty much there. I mean, look how long it took to have all our food genetically modified so that they can put crap loads of insecticides and herbicides on it without killing the plant. They don't care about what is absorbed into the plant, or they don't care about the plants that actually start producing their own insecticides, which we're eating. And this is all by Mr. Donald Rumsfeld, who's pushed this. He pushed the NutraSweet, which you folks seem to be hooked on. We're in a very, very sorry state. Autism is like what, 1% of all the kids now. So you have a 1 in 100% chance to have a child that is autistic, and there is no one answer to that. Parents are having kids later and later and later, and that could be part of the problem. That in the older days we had the average age of the mother was lower than it is today. I mean, that's one of the reasons why they cite. They think it's caused by many reasons, but they don't seem to really want to get down to the bottom of it, and they keep on adding more variables to the equation, so it almost becomes impossible to solve the equation as to why. But then a lot of cancers have gone up. A lot of cancers have come up. They're still pushing mammography when there's a thermography, which is non-invasive, which can actually be more accurate and detect things before the mammographs can. But no one seems to care about that. Essentially, you have to take the position that we are just cattle to the government. Our function is to be bred, born, and start paying taxes, and keep this elite group who don't have to live by our laws in control. It's a very strange thing, and our forefathers would turn in their grave if they could see what's going on and what you people just won't say a thing about. You won't write a letter to the editor. We have the teachers union. Of course, they're well organized and keep on spending more and more money on education. The kids seem to test worse and worse compared to the rest of the world. They're so concerned in our school systems about being politically correct that they don't worry about learning. A lot of the kids are medicated. We have the highest percentage of medicated kids on Ritalin and whatever. And most of these massacres that kids took out on their fellow students, most of these kids were medicated. So, like I said, we're in a very sad state of affairs with no end in sight. In fact, the trend is it's getting worse and worse and worse on every at every level. I don't know of any level where things are getting better. Um, Things are getting more expensive to buy from the standpoint of the sophistication of a car, of a house. All this, of course, makes it more expensive. All this makes it so that you have to go to a bank and finance it. And I think this whole movement of liberating the world from tyrants, I think, is more of a drive of the banks to get a hold of these people and exploit them, and getting them to buy things that they don't need. Like we are buying crap from China that we really don't need. Most of what we buy we don't need. Everything's a big lark. You got to buy this, you got to buy that, you got to buy this, you got to buy that. Crap that ends up in garage sales. And people seem to be almost in a state of hypnosis that they have to do these trendy things. They have to worship football players, basketball players, baseball players, and I have no problem with getting caught up in that to a certain point. But we have real issues, and all we hear about is who's managing this team and who's being swapped and traded. We have Charlie Sheen. Apparently had a whole briefcase of cocaine, but that didn't seem to bother the authorities. I don't see anybody going to jail. I don't see his pusher friend going to jail. In fact, they never try to find who the real source is. They had a situation where they were putting people away forever on these certain drug charges, and they should use that. They should have a whole new thing that if you want to do drugs, you better really be tight with your drug dealer, because if you can't turn them in, you're going to go up for a long time. And it's not a matter of just saying no; it's a matter of knowing who your drug dealer is. So let's say they give someone who's caught with it almost a free pass on the first, as if he can successfully turn in his drug dealer, and so on and so forth, and work right up to the top. There's no doubt in my mind that when Americans were using their vacation time down on the borders to protect their borders and stop the illegal aliens coming in or across the border, they were also stopping a lot of drugs coming in. That pissed off George Bush to no end whatsoever. Man, when they were discussing this with him, he said, "We're not into vigilantism." He was cooking. And when they had a chance to bust those two border guards for shooting that drug dealer in the act with a van load full of drugs, they made examples out of those two border guards for taking their jobs too seriously, and that came all the way from the top. So if you really think that the highest of the high are involved in this drug deal and getting paid off to let this stuff happen, you're totally delusional. You really are. You're really delusional, and it's gone across both all administrations, and that's the way it is. So we really, I think, have lost this country to whatever powers are bringing us, trying to turn us into a third world nation. This cap and trade thing is another one of these things. This whole thing on controlling carbon emissions. One of the things they want to do is to make the power plants, the coal plants, get rid of some of their CO2. Now, you can't burn coal without producing CO2. What you can do is partially burn coal and burn the hydrogen atoms off at a higher rate, and then end up with charcoal of carbon and do an incomplete combustion on the coal, but leave a lot of BTUs there, and then store that used coal in the form of carbon someplace else. But the other idea, they want to pump this thing underground and extract the CO2 out, and this will require about 15% more energy burned to produce this. Well, we're getting off the subject here. Just want you to know that the America you once were, we should have a funeral. We should have a funeral service for the United States, okay? Because it's gone. Bye-bye.